What's up, guys? This is Nick from Arch City Poker, and in today's video, going to be continuing the Poker Grad School series with today's topic covering attacking capped ranges. So last week we discussed attacking merged ranges. Today we'll be doing capped ranges. So what is a capped range? Capped ranges are essentially ranges that don't contain the nuts at either a high enough frequency or in some cases any kind of frequency. Players end up with capped ranges either by playing in an unbalanced and exploitable manner and or taking a line that often prevents them from having nuttish combos. Let's take a look at a few examples to further illustrate this concept. You are in a live 5-10 no-limit hold'em game and open raise in early position with a range of 8s plus and ace-queen offsuit plus and king-queen suited plus. That's awesome grammar by me there. And a thinking opponent in position calls you on the button. The flop comes out 7-6-5 rainbow, and you c-bet for pot with a polarized but balanced range of combos. The problem here is your opponent knows you are often capped to mostly overpairs and air based on your early position opening range. He can therefore attack you very frequently and put you in tough spots due to your range being capped and not containing combos such as 9-8 suited, sets, or 2-pair. Yes, will you possibly have a range that's wider than this and have some of these combos? Sure, but most opponents will not. This is a common spot where opponents are very capped, and they can be attacked by thinking players that are especially in position on them. The second example, a player in middle position in a 6-max PLO 200 game opens for pot, and you flat in the big blind with ace 8-8-4 double suit. The flop comes out queen 9-7 with 2 hearts, so essentially we flop future blockers and the nut heart draw, but not much else. You check and your opponent checks behind. Most players will not check behind 2-pair plus here, although they sometimes should for balance. Therefore, he is often capped to top pair and likely draws that he wants to realize his equity with. The turn brings a 6 of clubs, and this now becomes an excellent bluffing spot for you. You have great blockers in your 8s and nuttish equity to fall back on with your nut heart draw. Most importantly, your opponent, if unbalanced in the spot, is quite capped, and you're often going to be able to go bet on the turn and river to blow him off of most of his range. Third example, you are in a live 2-5 no-limit hold'em game in an open raise in middle position with king of diamonds, king of spades. Your opponent flats out of the big blind, and he is very unbalanced in a value-heavy way with his range when taking an aggressive line. The flop comes out jack 7-5 with 2 hearts, and he check calls your pot size bet. Your opponent would have either led or check raised 2-pair plus in the spot very often, maybe every time. Therefore, he is capped to jack X combos and draws. The turn brings in a 2 of clubs, and your opponent checks. You fire pot once again, and he shoves for about 5 times your bet. You should be fist bumping at this point about getting it in, knowing that you are very likely against a worst hand or draw. I see players go into the tank in the spot, and they get worried about the real dollars that have been put into the pot by this opponent. If you have this read on your opponent and you know that he is very capped in the spot, then this is going to be a nice spot to often pick up or pick off a bluff. Your opponent very likely didn't call on the flop with deuces, so he couldn't have turned a set. And he also is very unlikely to have turned 2-pair. Like I said, this is often a draw or combo draw at best due to his capped range. So what to take away from this lesson, guys? Look for opportunities to attack your opponents when their ranges are likely very capped. Common spots are checking back the flop in general, but especially on wet and dynamic boards, as well as spots when they raise, representing combos that they just can't have. A very important lesson to learn as well is that you may be capping your own ranges in some spots. This is sometimes unavoidable as betting may accomplish nothing in some spots, but be mindful of your frequencies when playing in tougher player pools. Checking back some top pair good kicker combos or check calling with 2-pair plus combos is necessary sometimes versus any thinking player. And those are obviously very, I was going to say specific, but they are kind of like generalized spots. You guys can figure this out for your own based on board texture and how both of your ranges are constructed from pre-flop to post-flop, and based on the lines that have been taken. You guys can balance your play a little bit better against tougher opponents and tougher player pools by having some top pair plus combos in your range when your opponent basically thinks that you won't, essentially. You want to be able to balance it so your opponents cannot exploit you and basically see through every line that you guys take. So this will do it for this video. If you guys, excuse me, have any questions or comments about this concept of capped ranges, go ahead and let me know. Until next time, this is Nick from Arch City Poker. Take care.